I want to talk, starting, I want to start talking about my failures first. Because in life, if there's anything that I've learned, then it is through my failures. So there are two important failures in my life. So the first one was when I was in school. I was too young to process a failure then. Yeah, but unfortunately, but fortunately, it happened. I was in fourth standard, and it was our school assembly. So it was my class's turn to perform on stage. We had to deliver the assembly. That means I had to take the lead. So I had to announce, like every time we start with a prayer, I had to start by saying prayer position. Then everybody would stand in the prayer position and we'd begin with the prayer. And after that, I had to announce pledge. Then we'd say the pledge. And after that, we had all the activities like thought for the day, speech, and everything. And finally, I had to say national anthem. Then we'd proceed with the national anthem. So that was the process, like every other assembly. And I was very confident about it because I'd been practicing that for a week or so. So I thought, okay, fine, this is very easy. I can manage it. I started. Finally, the day came and I had to present myself on stage. I came up to the stage. I saw the biggest crowd of my life. The whole school was assembled in front of me. And I actually discovered how it felt to be nervous for the first time. I didn't know how to handle it. I just looked at the crowd and I was like, okay, all I have to do is say prayer position. I'll be all right. I started like that and the bell rang. So I wanted to say prayer position. I was trying so hard. I went to the mic and I said national anthem. Unfortunately, the whole school started laughing at me. And I was so scared. Like I was so embarrassed. I didn't expect that to be happening to me. That too, I was too young to process that. That was the main problem. And I just stood there, froze, didn't know what to do. My teacher came to the rescue. She took the mic. She proceeded with the assembly. And I made a mess of my first class assembly. And I got this nickname called the National Anthem Girl. Like, how bad can that be? Whenever I go to the washroom, whenever I go somewhere, they just address me as, isn't this the National Anthem Girl? So I'd be like, oh my God, again. I didn't even want to go to school because I'd hear this National Anthem Girl. Who would want to be reminded of their embarrassments every single day? So I somehow wanted to change people's perspective about me. So what I did is, I thought, I'll study hard so that people just forget this. And I have to admit that it was kind of working because every time I accomplished something by studying, my teachers, they'd appreciate me a lot. I'd be their pets. And other students, they thought that if they hung out with me, their grades would improve. So I just felt good about myself. I was starting to enjoy that. And I was like a horse with the blinders on. All I could see was my books. I couldn't see anything that was around me. I forgot how to live. I couldn't see anything. I was studying every day, like in the morning, night, go to school, study, come back home, study. This was my life. But I thought that I got it sorted all until one day, I realized that it was not like that. I was studying in my living room and my mother was watching some television channel and there was a beautiful girl dancing on stage, performing very well. She was dancing very well, okay. But I was not looking because I was completely into my books. Being this nerd, I was like, oh, I have to study. So I couldn't see any of that. But my mother, she was watching it, she was enjoying it. And somehow there she realized that I was lacking something. Maybe from that thought, she just turned to me and she asked me, Amina, would you ever be able to do something like this on stage? That question really disappointed me because I thought I had it all sorted. I thought I was making my family happy by studying very well, scoring good grades. But they were not happy. I did realize that I was lacking in something. So I wanted to make my mother very happy. So what I would do is I would just join my group dances that was happening during the youth festival. You know, you have those youth festivals every year where you can go and take part. So I would go and dance in the group, in one corner so that people don't notice me. I just wanted to be part of the, dancing thing. I just wanted to make my mother happy. So every year I used to do this group dance thing. I used to bring the certificate and I'm like, Mommy, I did this. And she'd be like kind of happy, but one day she asked me another question and it disappointed me again. She asked me, okay, good, you're doing well, but can you do something solo on stage? And I knew I couldn't because I was scared the national anthem girl would come back, which I didn't want ever in my life. Like, I can't even think about it. So I was scared, but I didn't know how to process this. So there were a kind of habits that I developed to counter this. I started reading. That would be my first very underrated habit that I took upon. And I started reading about communication, how to communicate effectively, books on self improvement, how I can improve myself, and the power of the mind. I learned a lot about my own mind and how we can use our mind to transform yourself and achieve goals, which was a very important turning point in my life. Because I realized that our mind is very powerful. What you put into it, it multiplies what is put into it and it gives the biggest result. So the smallest unit of the mind is a thought. Thought is something that just goes unnoticed most of the time. So whenever a thought passes by, we don't even realize. We just leave it like that. But actually, it is the thoughts that make beliefs. People say, believe in yourself, but they don't tell you how to do it, right? I did realize that focusing on our thoughts is the key to creating beliefs. Because what is a belief? A belief is a thought that is repeated enough number of times in your head so that it becomes a belief. And when you do that regularly, it just transforms yourself. You can transform yourself in that way. Every time a negative thought comes to your head, just counter it with a positive one. Because I'll tell you what, when you have positive beliefs in your head, when you repeat positive thoughts, what happens in your brain is new neural pathways are created to support that belief. And that is how the transformation scientifically occurs. And when you transform yourself, you change the perspective that others think when they see you. You can change that. And that is very important for me. That was very important for me because I was dealing with my first very bad failure. So, second habit that I developed was observation. Before I get to observation, I would like to talk about my second biggest failure in my life, which was my first ever audition. So I knew nothing about acting. Okay, initially, I was doing engineering and I used to see these big Bollywood stars on screen. They all performed really well. So I thought it was easy. They just did it so effortlessly. They faked it so well that it made me think that it was very easy. And I told my grandmother that I want to go for an audition and I want to try. So my grandmother, she was concerned because I've never even done a drama or anything on stage. So she's never seen me acting. I myself haven't seen me acting. So it was completely like, I do understand from her part why she was worried. So she asked me this, would you be able to do it? I've never seen you do anything on stage. So I said, haven't you seen those actors do it? It's very easy. It's not as difficult as you think it is. So she was like, okay, fine. Upon one condition, I'll accompany you for the audition. The condition would be, if you get through, you'll do movies in future. in case you don't get through, we are never gonna talk about cinema in this house. And that was kind of acceptable with me because I thought that I'd get through because it looked very easy. It had to be easy, And I went to the audition. So the director was there. There were like 15 other crew members. And he asked me, like, so what are you going to perform today? So I told him, sir, I'd be performing as somebody who doesn't know how to cook biryani. So he was like, oh, okay, that is your topic. Fine, go ahead, do it. I was so dumb. I thought that if I said that I'd perform as somebody who doesn't know how to cook, it would help me in my performance because I really didn't know how to cook biryani. So I thought it would help me, but unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I realized it the hard way. So I started with my audition. I was like, first you take a cooker and then what is it? What is it that you put in biryani? Is it rice? I was literally talking to myself and making a fool out of myself. My grandmother, she was sitting there. She was keeping a hand on her head and she was like this. No, don't. Please stop it. She was like that. Please stop the torture. And I was so embarrassed. I could see it with my side eye that she is really embarrassed. I am also embarrassed and I'm performing, making a fool of myself. The director is like trying so hard not to laugh. I can see that I'm not blind. And I didn't know what to do. And at the end, I was like, sir, I think I've already made a mess of my biryani. So I was laughing, but I actually was very embarrassed. So the director was like, no, you were doing fine. Like, I knew that he was consoling me. So then my grandmother was still in that shock. Like, she couldn't look at me at all. She didn't want to see me, I think. So the director said, it's fine, you've done good. Now your resume says that you know how to dance. Let's see your performance. So I was like, okay, sir. I didn't want to dance. I just wanted to run from there. But just because he said that, I was like, okay, sir, I'll do a dance performance. And they put the music and I started dancing. That girl who used to do the group dances in some corner, no, that just came to me. And I started dancing with the music. I didn't even realize what was going on in front of me. I was involved in the music. And I think the director was happy with the dance performance, probably, I don't know, but his face just lit up. After the performance, he was like telling me, you did well. But I knew that I didn't do the acting part very well, which was the most important part. So I was very embarrassed. And my grandmother still couldn't look at my face, okay? That is another thing. And the director said, we'll give you a call in 2 days. So I was very sure that this is not going to happen. So I was like, okay, sir, see you then. I knew I'm not going to see him again. So I just went back home. And my grandmother was like, no cinema again. Okay, done. We are done with this. I was like, okay, fine. And 2 days later, the director called me. It seems I was selected. I didn't know what he saw in me. I still don't know. And I was happy because I could do cinema in future. But the problem was, I still didn't know how to act. That was the most important part. And I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. And but I just remembered there was one thing. So out of the crew members, there was one person who just came to me. He knew that I was helpless and embarrassed. He did realize my situation. So he came to me and he said, Amina, you need to observe yourself. Only do what you really feel in a certain situation. When somebody gives you a topic, only if you would really do that in your real life, incorporate it in your performance. Otherwise, don't do it. So it is at that point that I realized that I'd been overacting all this while. I was not doing things that I would actually do in my real life. I was just making up things and maybe, this is how people do it and I was just doing something. But that's not how acting works. So that is how I did realize the importance of observation. And that really did help me in my career as an actor because the first step was a big failure. And from then on, I took smaller steps to where I am now. So, observation I found is the key to becoming a good actor, to becoming a good artist, creator, whatever you want to be. You need to observe really well. It is in the smaller details. When you see a good movie, you see a good performance, you will see that it's not about the big things. You see a good actor on screen, like take for example, a very good established actor. It is mostly in the very subtle of the subtlest things that he does on screen. Like it might be, a blink of an eye or some kind of a subtle thing. Maybe it's a sigh between two dialogues. So it is as little as that creates magic on screen. And what makes a masterpiece different from a normal piece of work, normal piece of art? It is in the details. So when you see a masterpiece, each and every stroke is made with so much of precision. So it is that what makes that a masterpiece and different from the others. So I would say that it is in the little things in life, whatever it is, be it art, be it character, be it relationships, everything. It is in the little things. And the third habit I would like to go to that I practiced after enduring my failures was application. So, application of what I learned from reading and observation, that really, really, really did help me in transforming myself into a better, newer, bigger version of myself. So, that, my friends, is how I transformed from being the national anthem girl to the girl who's delivering a TEDx speech in front of you today. And remember the girl who was dancing on stage that day? I told you. The girl, the nice, talented one in the TV show. 10 years from that day, I was performing with her on the same stage. My mother said I couldn't do it. I proved myself. So nothing is impossible, my friends. And yeah, do focus on yourself, focus on your thoughts. You can all do it if I can do it. Thank you so much for being here with me and listening to me. Thank you so much.